Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and we going to talk a little bit about price in this video here today. All sorts of different opinions, and I tell you, there are a couple that are notably bullish here as we're wrapping up the calendar year of 2019. The one I'm most looking forward to sharing with you perhaps is the one that claims that we're going to see at least one dip within the next probably 2 or 3 days, certainly no later than December 30th. And then we're going to see a notable burst in terms of upward XRP price action. So I'll be sharing with you the details on that. Lots of opinions to run through in this video. Man, crypto's volatile. But before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button. And also, I recommend that you get down with your bad self by subscribing to the Moon Lambo channel. You'll feel all warm and fuzzy inside if you do it. Trust me, I've tried it. It feels good. As far as XRP price, now, of course, not a financial advisor. I absolutely am not. I'm not going to pretend to be something I'm not. I don't know how to read charts. I also don't want to learn. I'm a guy all about fundamentals. And so I'm not making price predictions. I just cover the opinions of others. But I do want to say this, because I don't know if I've mentioned this too many times on my channel, but the way that I look at crypto, since as far as XRP, I do purchase XRP on a regular basis. I choose to for a ton of different reasons. There are a few that are key, though. But I never really look at it in terms of, from a dollar perspective, what it's cost me to accumulate what I've accumulated. Instead, I've always been just of the mindset of, how much XRP do I actually hold? Because that's what I'm always looking at. Like, because I kept setting bars for myself, like even entering in the world of 2017 and accumulating as much XRP as I could. And then when things started taking off price-wise, and I was very uneducated at that point relative to where I am now. And I thought, I guess I just missed the boat, and I wish I had a little bit more time. But then I learned more about market cycles. Like, wait a minute, maybe I've got more time than I thought. And I do. It turns out, I've been in this over 2 years now. I ended up having a lot more time than I suspected I would have with what I knew at the time. And so, of course, as the bear market persisted, eventually I started buying more, dollar cost averaging in further, and I've been very grateful for the opportunity. But again, I just want to make the point that despite whatever price has been doing, I've always looked at in terms of how much XRP do I want to hold. And because of the amount of time I've had, I've been able to set a number of stretch goals, and I've been able to hit them just because the damn bear market went on so long. And 2019 has not been kind in terms of price action to altcoins, not just XRP, but just altcoins in general. But, hey, maybe alt season's on the way. So I just wanted to share with you that's how I look at it. Now, as an asset class, the market cap today is at $188 billion. Bitcoin's at $7,222.13 as I record this. And XRP's at 18.9 cents. Astonishing levels. And this is fun to point out here. Here's a 24-hour chart of XRP. Do you see how it just burst up here and then a little bit of sideways action and went back down again, just inside of this 24-hour period over? This is just a handful of hours right here. If you're driving, don't worry about it. You're not just understand that I'm citing a notable run-up in terms of price of XRP. Went sideways more or less a little bit and then back down to where it was just a couple hours or so later. Well, that's the XRP chart. Here's the Bitcoin 24-hour chart. Looks very samey, does it not? XRP chart, Bitcoin chart. XRP chart, Bitcoin chart, same damn chart. Look, I just want to say, so look, nothing is wrong with XRP in terms of price action. It's just following Bitcoin more or less. There you go. And other altcoins have been not had a stellar year by and large, just generally speaking. Now that said, take a look at this. This is a headline from News BTC. Bitcoin could dump to $5,000 if this pattern plays out. The consolidation for the entire month of December has continued for Bitcoin as it holds above key support. If the next moves down are similar to the previous ones, however, it could soon be as low as $5,000 according to one analyst. For another day, Bitcoin is held above $7,000 as its sideways trading continues, outside that little burst I just showed you today, of course. But this was written before that. A Christmas Day dip to $7,120 was quickly recovered as the asset returned to top $7,200 where it currently trades according to TradingView.com. Bitcoin has remained in this range for a month now, but technical signals are starting to show signs of another large movement. Trader and analyst Crypto Hamster has been observing the Bollinger Bands, which appear to be squeezing again. This is often a precursor to a large move, but overall trends are still bearish. And you can see there's the tweet on the screen, which is being referenced. A general consensus among traders is that the bulls are running out of steam, so a move to the downside is more likely. And by the way, I find that interesting because it's in stark contrast to a couple opinions I'm going to share with you a little bit later in the video. But taking things a step further, the analyst has plotted previous large moves and observed that they were all by about the same amount. And so here's a tweet from a crypto hamster on the screen here. $850 zones with major drops that are twice larger. That's what would happen if this continues to evolve in the same way. The lack of the correction up at some point might be a sign of the last drop before the bottom. Hopefully, we could stop at a 200 WMA, so the moving average there. Now, if the pattern plays out, the next dump will be back to the mid-6,000 zone before another brief bounce. A further 850 down from there puts Bitcoin at $5,000, which is pretty much exactly where the 200-week moving average lies. This has provided solid support for the past couple of years, so a fall through that would spell impending doom for Bitcoin and its brethren. Anytime you can throw the word brethren into an article, you're doing a good job, crypto media writers. Moon Lambo applauds you. Right. Now, here's an opinion from chart analyst Denis Surachek from You Today. He's offering an XRP price prediction. That's how they labeled this particular piece. I'm just going to scroll down to that particular part. I don't want to cover the whole thing. XRP is continuing its onward downward spiral, but has not reached the bottom. The trading volume has been reduced more than twice over the last 7 days. Looking at the 4-hour chart, XRP is about to form a bullish divergence on the RSI indicator. In this regard, traders can expect a local rebound to the nearest resistance level at 20 cents. If the trading volume level increases, then the mark might be reached during the first days of January 2020. And so there's another opinion right there. Next, take a look at this now. There's 2 tweets from @MrLevelUp, who goes by Awake on Twitter here. And he tweeted this out just a little bit earlier today. We're approaching that slippery slope, approximately 2 to 3 days out. XRP dominance pattern is helping back it up and pinpoint it. And then he writes, not financial advice, which is good if it's not financial advice to notate that. That's why I do that, because I'm not offering financial advice. I don't know what I'm talking when it comes to price. I just track fundamentals, and this is a hobby. And then he wrote this, though. There's a little update just a little bit later in the day. Here's more. It doesn't have to be exact, but I put a buffer of 28% on this area, so anytime from tomorrow until the 30th, we should see, we should dip first. So he's thinking there's going to be a dip and then a run up. Let me show you the first chart first, right? And so the bottom, this is 2017, and then over here, you're looking at 2019 there. And so he's noting similarities in the chart and saying, hey, based on this data, looks like there would be a dip if it plays out the same, and then ultimately a run-up. Let me show you the second image that he shared right here. And here's what he wrote associated with this particular chart. Per this pattern of 2019 compared to 2017, it has drawn 28% bigger on average. I broke up sections of the pattern, then took the whole pattern. Sure enough, 28% on average. I'm using that as a buffer and marked 14 days out compared to the 11 days in 2017 took to finish its pattern right there. And so you can kind of see, I mean, obviously, since we have eyeballs, we can see that the chart itself looks similar. Now, as to whether or not it'll play out like this, he's not offering financial advice. I'm not going to pretend to know either. But he's suspecting, his best guess is that there's going to be, based on this, one more dip, no later than December 30th, but probably within the next 2 to 3 days, and then a notable rise, as perhaps occurred in, as he was saying, I guess it was March, didn't he? I think it was March of 2017, which really, that was the beginning of quite a rally, which was somewhat short-lived. When it was span of, I'm pulling from memory now, but I think over a span of a few weeks, it jumped up to, I think, 42 cents or something like that, and then it did ultimately come back down, and it took over another half a year before it ever broke 40 cents again. But as we all know, there was a tremendous bull run at the end of 2017 for XRP into 2018, so yeah, was ultimately, for a brief period in time, worth substantially more than that. All right, next, here's a tweet from DIY Investing, and it was a retweet of something from Shoe Dog, who I have not covered on the channel, but I found this fascinating, so I wanted to share it, just because I conceptually it just makes a ton of sense to me anyway. But Shoe Dog wrote, when Bitcoin moves, so does XRP. And then he's got a screenshot here of the XRP chart on a 15-minute chart right here. And so this was when this activity today was occurring. You can see that what I was citing at the beginning of the video. That's the reason I wanted to cite this. There you go. And this is what he was talking about here when it started to run up. And now we have the benefit of hindsight to see, yeah, it went up, and then it did come back down. But that's what he was talking about right there. And it's just the concept of XRP following Bitcoin, because utility doesn't matter as much as I wish it did today. It's just kind of a matter-of-fact type of thing. So DIY Investing retweeted that and wrote, friendly reminder, when Bitcoin moves, so do all the other cryptos. Bitcoin is still the driver of value inside the space. Don't over-leverage yourself in altcoins. I keep the majority of my portfolio inside Bitcoin, and I'd recommend doing the same. Now, for me, since I'm not a trader, that's not something that I particularly am going to follow, and this is not advice whatsoever. I'm just sharing with you how I'm treating my investments here. Since I'm a long-term guy and I'm very patient, and I believe that fundamentals will matter more than anything else long-term, I'm happy to just keep putting my money in XRP. For traders, maybe what he's saying makes a ton of sense, but for someone like me who has a different strategy altogether, because I don't want to learn how to trade, I don't want to time markets, none of that stuff, that's just not what I personally am going for. But he runs a channel that explicitly talks about trading all the time, so that could be good advice. I'm not endorsing or saying it's bad. I'm just sharing with you opinions here. All right, now here's a tweet from High Altitude Investor, and he wrote this, and this is bullish. All this crypto FUD coming out, question mark? I'm bullish as F word. Bitcoin USD. And then he writes 3 waves incoming. And then Sites talks about, I don't want to get into technical stuff because it's outside the scope of what I intend to cover in these types of videos. But he notes that there's FUD right on major support of $6,000. And he writes, see through the BS, people. Don't let the fog of the media blind you to the truth. And here's the chart that he has associated with this. So it seems to me that this particular chart analyst thinks that the worst of the downward price action that has or would occur, like it's just, it has happened. It has passed. That seems to be his opinion specifically there. So you can tell me what you think. It would be fascinating if that one prediction of in the next few days maybe see another notable dip in XRP, and after that it's just off to the races. That would be fun. Wouldn't that just be ideal? So I'll be watching it though. I will be watching it. It's fun to track this stuff. But that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything, because if anything that I say or write, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!